really quick, before we dive in, I'll just give you a little brief about myself. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, literally since I was 19 years old. My husband owns a roofing company, so we're entrepreneurs and business owners. And for those of you that are self-employed or business owners, you know that you're paying for healthcare out of pocket, or you don't have health insurance at all because it is so expensive. That was our story. We opted out of healthcare for a very long time because it just didn't make sense to pay about $1,000 a month for the two of us. So when we found Impact Health about a little over 2 years ago, when we got ourselves a quote for just us two at just over $300 a month, we knew we had to take a look at this. And he's always been wanting to offer healthcare to his employees, but wanted to find the right program and have it be affordable for his business. And so now he offers Impact Health to many of his W-2 employees. They have hundreds of 1099 roofing sales reps, and many of them have opted into Impact Health. And me, as a healthy individual, am so grateful for Impact because over the last 2 years of having Impact Health as my healthcare coverage, I've actually been in the ER 3 separate times. And so Impact has saved me and my family literally tens of thousands of dollars. We are so grateful. But clearly, that's why I'm very passionate about what we have our hands on. But I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. The first thing I wanna do is just show you a short video that gives you a great visual of how health sharing works. Health sharing, like I said, it's a nonprofit, but it's a community approach where members share into or cover the cost of other members' medical bills. So let's go ahead and play this video for y'all first.
So you just saw an example of how health sharing works. Simply, people helping those in need. Here at Impact, we're slightly different as we use a proprietary decentralized technology that allows the transfer of monies through a secure digital payment system. That means all the sharing happens seamlessly from members to the share account of the member in need.
Awesome. Well, such a great video. Hopefully you guys understood, she got a large bill and there was other Impact members that were, paying a little bit of that bill. And you're going to understand a little bit more of how this whole sharing plan works. But what I want to do, I'm going to share my screen again. And I want to invite you to our Facebook page. Congratulations for those in there because we just reached 4,000 people in our Impact Facebook page, and we just made this page like a year and a half ago. So it's pretty awesome. But you can scan the QR code or just type in Health Share Crusade Community and request to join the group. You don't have to be an Impact member to be in this group. It's really number one, where the recording of this video, recording of this webinar is going to be posted. So don't ask that question. It's going to be in the Facebook group. But also there's great testimonials that are posted in there. And a lot of people just have questions and they ask them in the Facebook group and we answer their questions. So it's a really great community to be part of. So first thing I want to show you is probably no news to any of you, but this is a Bloomberg study that shows how health insurance premiums have skyrocketed and spiked over the last 23 years. This goes from 2000 to 2023, almost a 300% increase with how much health insurance costs have grown, and they've grown faster than inflation and faster than most people's income. And that is why it's leaving a lot of people in really unfortunate situations because they're paying so much money for healthcare every month and they don't have the income to match that. So 80% of our country is trying to lower their healthcare costs. 5% of the population is who's responsible for 50% or more of the annual healthcare spending costs. And what this means is that most people are overpaying for their healthcare. I know that's many of you on here. Over 100 million Americans are in some form of healthcare debt. That is a very crazy statistic. So what are people looking for? Affordable monthly premiums, affordable copays, affordable deductibles, the ability to choose and pick what doctor and what facility you go to, not have to worry about being stuck within a network. I'm going to expand on that here in a second. And employers like my husband, like many of you on here, want to offer healthcare to your employees to give them benefits without breaking the bank and without sacrificing coverage for your employees. So I want to talk about what health sharing is. I know I mentioned it's a nonprofit alternative to health insurance. And just because it might be a new concept to you does not mean that it is a new concept overall. It's been around for over 40 years. Some of you have probably heard of MediShare, Christian Health Ministries, Samaritan Health, Zion, some of the other known health sharing companies in the US. But Impact, like I mentioned at the beginning, is the most modern and contemporary version of health sharing. So in normal health sharing world, outside of Impact Health, the way it typically works is you go to a doctor, you go to the urgent care, you go to a specialist, and you pay upfront using a cash pay discount. Usually it's about 20% or so. And then you submit your bill, your receipt, into your health share company, and they either reimburse you or they put it towards your deductible. But with Impact said, you know what, we want to make this a little easier for our members. And so you're going to receive, I've got my card right here, you're going to receive an Impact Health card, just like you would a normal insurance card. And when you go to the doctor, you go to the hospital, you go to a specialist, you just simply give them your Impact card. And the way that Impact is designed to work is you're not paying upfront. They're going to electronically bill Impact Health. And so that's point number one, is they're going to electronically bill Impact Health on your behalf. Huge benefit. Point number two is Impact does something called reference-based repricing. I'm going to explain to you what reference-based repricing is. They look at the price of a medical bill and they see that maybe there's profit margin here, or there's negotiation room, and they negotiate your medical expenses on your behalf. So on average, Impact is negotiating down medical bills by 72%. I'm not exaggerating. I experienced this. Remember, I said I was in the ER 3 times. One bill that came back from my pancreatitis incident I had, it was $11,600 that Impact negotiated down to just under $1,800 for me. So I love that they do the reference-based repricing. Another thing is a lot of other health share companies, you actually have to prove to be a certain religion, and they do have religious requirements. But with Impact, they have a come one, come all program here where it's, it doesn't matter what you believe, everyone is accepted in, which is great. So like I said, huge savings on the negotiation of the bills, but also big savings for monthly payments. So your monthly premiums, when comparing to traditional insurance, is usually about 30 to 50% cheaper with Impact. I've seen upwards of 70% cheaper as well. So really great there. So just to summarize what I said, Impact feels like traditional insurance, but it's not. It's a nonprofit alternative. But what separates Impact from other sharing programs is how they manage their billing. They use reference-based repricing, where they negotiate your medical expenses on your behalf. So let's talk about Impact specifically. So it is comprehensive medical care. So it's not just preventative, it's catastrophic, it's mental health, it's chiropractic, you name it. And you have what I call medical freedom. You have the ability to go to any doctor, any facility that you want to, not have to worry about being told this is out of our network. You're not confined within a specific network. You have nationwide access to all networks. Why is this powerful? Number one, when I was in excruciating pain at 1 a.m. in the morning, I didn't have to call the nearest ER and ask them, do you accept this healthcare? I just went to the closest emergency room knowing that I have nationwide access to all networks. Let's just say that you switch to Impact Health and you love your primary care physician. You don't have to switch. Okay. Or God forbid something really bad happened. And maybe someone in your family got diagnosed with cancer. Well, because you have nationwide access to all networks, you're able to go to the MD Andersons. You're able to go to the best facilities to get the best possible care for you and your family. So every member of the family is going to receive one free annual physical or wellness visit every single year. It's completely covered by the Impact members. It costs you nothing. There's no copay attached to that. Each member of the family is going to receive a $150 blood work credit. You can go to any lab that you want. If you use Quest Labs, Impact actually has a partnership with them. You get very special pricing with Quest Labs. Also, just good to know about blood work, Impact will still negotiate down your blood work bills. I saw someone who had blood work, it was over $2,000, got negotiated down with their $150 credit. They literally did not pay anything. It's amazing. Now, when it comes to what we call outpatient therapy visits, this is chiropractic, physical therapy, speech therapy, vision therapy, you name it. Every member of the family is going to receive 50 outpatient therapy visits per year. So if you're like, I don't do physical therapy, I don't do speech therapy, you can go to the chiropractor 50 times in 1 year. So literally almost once a week for a whole year. All 50 of those chiropractic visits will count towards reaching your family deductible. That is awesome. And that's 50 per member of the family. Free telemedicine. Those of you maybe have heard of telemedicine or telehealth. Impact uses MD Live. This is basically a virtual doctor where if you're not feeling well or a kid of yours is not feeling well and you don't want to go to the ER or you don't want to go take them into the doctor, you can actually just have a phone call or a video call with a doctor online virtually. And it's unlimited visits for every member of the family, 24/7 access, and it's totally free. So literally you could use this 5 times a day if you wanted to, and it wouldn't cost you anything. They can also write prescriptions for you, which is great. Speaking of prescriptions, very extremely competitive prescription pricing. Many of you have heard of GoodRx Gold. They're known for having very great prices for prescriptions, and over 90% of the time, Impact's prescription pricing is lower than GoodRx Gold, which is great. Now, when I'm talking about monthly premiums or what you're paying every month for your family's Impact membership, their plans start as low as $73 a month for individuals and $378 a month for families of 3+. Now, because Impact is not insurance, we don't use the same language. So instead of using what you would know as a deductible, Impact uses something called a PRA. It's a primary responsibility amount. So some of you have individual per person deductibles. I talked with someone the other day, each person in their family has a $5,000 deductible. That's a lot of money out of pocket before the insurance company starts to cover anything. So Impact went away with individual deductibles, and they only have one household or family deductible, family PRA, that your family is responsible for. And it's as low as $2,500 for the whole year. So if you have 5 people in your family, all 5 of your medical bills goes towards reaching that one household PRA or household deductible as low as $2,500 a year. Now listen to this. I'm going to show you how to get your family PRA from $2,500 to $700 a year. So because Impact is a nonprofit, there is zero benefit to them when somebody gets sick, right? So instead, they're actually rewarding their members for showing that they're being proactive about keeping a healthy lifestyle. So they're going to give you money they're going to give you credits towards your household deductible just for having things like a gym membership. Maybe you buy vitamins, supplements, you go to a naturopathic doctor like me, IV drips, massages, essential oils. I mean, anything that you spend money on every month that shows that you're being proactive about your health. What Impact is going to do is they're going to match what you spend every single month up to $150 and put that towards your family PRA or towards your family deductible every month. So if you do that for 12 months straight, maybe if you have a $2,500 PRA, now you just dropped it down and saved $1,800. Now you have a $700 PRA. That's amazing. So I go to Orange Theory a few times a week, and my Orange Theory membership is $179 a month. So every month I send my invoice into Impact, and $150 of that is put towards my family PRA. So it is so awesome. And then last thing I want to touch on is dental and vision. So with traditional insurance, you typically pay a medical portion and then you pay a separate fee for dental and vision. But with Impact, they give us free dental and vision. So it's no additional cost and it's a discount card. So with the dental and vision, remember I said how for the medical portion of Impact, you have nationwide access to all networks. You can go to any doctor, any facility. Dental and vision's a little bit different. We do use a network. It's called Carrington Labs Network, one of the largest dental and vision networks around the country. Just in my own town, I did a search and I put in my zip code, and literally within 5 miles, there was like 10 different dentist offices. I was blown away. And so you get a separate Carrington card that you'll get in the mail. And then when you go to the dentist or the eye doctors, you just simply give them your Carrington discount card, and you're going to take advantage of really great discounted pricing for all things dental and vision related. So we use it. We got cleanings a few weeks ago and it saved us like $175 for the two of us. It was great. All right. So who is the target customer to be an Impact member? A few different categories here. Mainly individuals and families who are overall fairly healthy, who are currently paying some or all of their healthcare costs. So if you're a business owner, if you have 49 employees or less, then Impact would be a phenomenal thing to offer your employees. We helped a church. They had 9 staff members switch over from traditional insurance to Impact Health, and it saved the church with 9 people switching over $120,000 a year. That's the kind of money that we're helping people save here. Those that are self-employed, like myself, independent contractors, gig or part-time workers, like I said, you're paying healthcare out of pocket or you don't have any at all. And then those that are uninsured, those with no insurance at all, or those that are overpaying. There's a lot of people that are covered partially by their employer, and either you're still paying a lot, or as soon as you add in your spouse or your kids, now you're paying $1,000 extra a month. And so we have a lot of people who maybe, you know, the one that's employed stays on their health insurance if it's great coverage, and the rest of the family switches over to Impact because it's saving them so much money. So over 90 million people actually fall into these categories. So we know that there is definitely a need for Impact Health. Last thing I want to share before I hand the call over to our special guest is talking about pre-existing conditions. It's a question I get all the time. So I want to preface this with a few things. Number one, if you're 65 years old or older, this does not apply to you. We've got great plans for people that have Medicare, and pre-existing conditions don't apply to you. Number two, there is no pre-existing condition that would ever disqualify you from becoming an Impact member. Impact will never deny you or never cause your monthly payment to increase because you're higher risk, okay? So having said that, Impact's definition of pre-existing medical conditions are conditions in which known signs, symptoms, testing, diagnosis, treatment, or use of medication has occurred within 36 months, so 3 years, prior to being an Impact member on your medical records, okay? So give you an example. If I enrolled with Impact today and I had my pancreatitis incident last year, even if I've been fine over the last year, I haven't been signs, symptoms, treatment free for 3 years. So all medical expenses associated with my pancreas would be considered pre-existing, okay? Now, if I became an Impact member today and I had my pancreatitis incident 7 years ago and I haven't had issues in the last 3 years, then great, it's not pre-existing, meaning if I have another issue with my pancreas, any medical bills associated with that would not be considered pre-existing. So what happens with medical bills associated with a pre-existing condition, they still go through that reference-based repricing. So remember how I said Impact negotiates medical bills down on average by 72%. So even your pre-existing condition medical bills will still get negotiated down. The only difference is that it does not count towards reaching your household PRA or your household deductible. So I'm very transparent with people, and I always just say, you got to do what's best for you. And if you have maybe a current insurance that's covering expensive prescriptions, or you have a lot of checkups and procedures, or you're high risk, Impact probably is not the best fit for you. Other thing I want to say, when it comes to high blood pressure or high cholesterol, those are not considered pre-existing for purposes of determining eligibility if you have a future stroke or a heart attack. So if you have a stroke or a heart attack and you have high blood pressure and high cholesterol, that's currently controlled enrolled, those emergency room bills and hospital bills will go towards your family deductible or your family PRA. Okay, let me give you one example. This is one of my husband's employees. He lives outside of Denver, Colorado. He joined Impact, had already been a raving fan of health sharing, but switched his family over to Impact Health Sharing because it was going to save him money every month. And he knew he had a pre-existing condition, but still saw the benefit. So he went to the ER because of his pre-existing condition. His bill was $5,751. Impact took off $5,130 of that bill. They negotiated it down to a price of $620. So knowing this was a pre-existing condition, that $620 did not go towards his family PRA or his family deductible, but all he paid was $620 instead of $5,700. So I hope that made sense to you guys. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now, and I'm going to bring up our special guest. This gentleman is literally a wealth of knowledge. I have learned so much from him. He's a former executive from one of the largest health sharing companies in the United States, was with them for many, many years, and decided that he fell in love with what Impact Health was doing and decided to say goodbye and join a partner with Impact Health. He is absolutely phenomenal. He's going to add so much value to you guys. And I am excited for you to hear from and learn from one of the top in this entire industry, Evelio Silvera. So Evelio, turn the call over to you, my friend.
Hey, it is fantastic to be with you guys. What an awesome opportunity when we get to solve what seems like a huge problem in this country, a problem of accessing quality healthcare and controlling your cost. And that's the essence of healthcare sharing and exactly what I've seen now as a member of Impact for our own family's healthcare needs. And really, it's all about community, right? The answer and the solution doesn't lie in someone passing a bill or stroking a pen or making things magically cheaper with some, kind of fantasy utopian fairy dust. The answer lies in you and I partnering together and saying, we don't need the insurance structure as we know it, but we can rely on a community with technology, transparency, and the faithfulness of meeting each other's needs so that we can control our costs and be a blessing and a benefit to others. I'll just give you a quick example. My family is a family of five. We have a 4-year-old, about to be 3-year-old, a just turned 1-year-old. And so it's busy in the Silvera household. But at that age, if you've had kids that age now or in the past, a lot of scrapes, bruises, and potential urgent care visits, right? For the fevers and the earaches and all of those things. And so I went shopping when I entered back into being on my own business owner again. After a few years of working in corporate life, immediately I went out into the exchange. Now, look, I had worked in healthcare sharing before, so I knew what an advantageous system it was, but I needed to do my due diligence, go shopping. And so I found a silver plan on the exchange. And a silver plan is okay coverage, right? $15,000 deductible and a $28,000 max out of pocket. So once I reach my deductible, then I have another out of pocket for co-insurance, right? And so I essentially was going to be paying $1,850 a month for the privilege of having to spend $28,000 before insurance would help me out, before they would do anything for me or lift a finger. That situation is what many Americans face. Almost 48% of Americans face, and that's what's being called functionally uninsured. I don't have $30,000 sitting in a savings account to be able to pay $1,800 a month and another $30,000 out of pocket before the insurance lifts a finger on my behalf. Oh, and by the way, they were going to tell me what hospital I needed to go to, what doctors I can see, right? And what discounts and prescriptions they will cover or not cover. That's not a good situation. And so when I went and priced out other healthcare sharing options, I came to Impact and I found a technologically savvy, transparent platform. For my family of five, is $605 a month is our monthly share. Because families 3 and over get a certain type of pricing. Jeff and I are gonna show you this immediately. But I just want to lay this foundation for you of, on a monthly basis, I'm saving over $1,200 a month. My family PRA is not $30,000 out of pocket before the community shares. It's $2,500. We happen to have a membership with a direct primary care physician. Charges us $225 for our family of 5 on a monthly basis. Well, guess what? I get a $150 credit every month. And so, like Lauren, we're working that down to not a $30,000 out of pocket, a $700 out of pocket before the community starts sharing in those bills. That is the difference between being functionally uninsured and having access to quality medical care in an affordable, meaningful way. Oh, and I don't have to take a trip to the urgent care or to go to the hospital of someone else's choosing. I'll give you a real example. This happened middle way last year. My daughter had just turned 2. She had a fever. Her fever went down and then it spiked again. She had a fever-induced seizure. It was a scary set of moments. I immediately ran into the living room, called 911, and they sent an ambulance over. We got in the ambulance, we went to the hospital, and everything worked out okay for my little girl. But where I was receiving my medical coverage in the past had a network and a very severe out-of-network penalty, meaning that I could have delayed the care that my daughter needed in that very moment 10 or 15 minutes, because I would have had to ask the emergency response, well, I can't go to this hospital. The one that's 3 miles from my house. I got to go to the one that's 13 miles from my house. If not, because I can't afford to go into the one that's 3 miles down my house. I didn't have to worry about that. I also didn't have to worry about the network. I didn't have to worry about the cost. All I had to do was make a call to get care. Flash forward to having an earache and a high fever. I didn't have to go to an urgent care or an ER and wait 2 hours before I could be seen, go from the big lobby room to the tiny waiting room. I hopped on MD Live, got virtual care, got a script sent immediately to the 24/7 Walgreens that's closest to my house. I got 2 of them kind of buffer me by a mile. Went over to the 24/7 one. What I thought was going to be $78 in prescriptions ended up being $0. So I saved 2 hours in an urgent care. I wasn't charged for telehealth. I wasn't even charged for the prescriptions that were given to solve the problem. That's the difference with what Lauren calls medical freedom. That's the difference with impact and why I chose it for my family, and I hope that you would choose it for yours. But the proof is in the pudding. So, Jeff, do we want to talk about the card first, or we want to look up some pricing?
Let's show people the pricing.
You got it. So pull up the old, if you'll screen share with us, Jeff. If you were asked to be on this call to learn more about impact by an individual, get back with them after this call, and they're going to share with you a site very much like this one that is for the Texas Chiropractic Association. They represent impact and encourage people to join impact. And the person that invited you to this call does the exact same. Here's how easy it is. You just put in the birth date of the oldest person in the household. Well, wouldn't you know, I'm the oldest in my household. So I was born March 9th, 1979. I got a birthday coming up this Sunday. So I'm going to be 1 year older. So let's get the pricing while I can, while I'm 1 year younger, right? I have over 3 people. I got 5 people in my household. Hit quote for me, Jeff. Well, here it is. Wouldn't you know, lo and behold, you pick your personal responsibility or your primary responsibility amount, the equivalent in insurance world of a deductible. If you want to save a little money on your monthly share, you pick a higher responsibility amount. Look, I know some people that have savings just for medical rainy days, right? A rainy day fund. And they might say, look, I'd like to save a couple $100. I'll take a $5,000 PRA. But if you're like me, I want the lowest out of pocket, right? I want the lowest threshold to have to cover before those larger bills, God forbid something happened catastrophically, might hit my family. So I went with the $2,500, and then we've got that 605, and there's a 10% co-share. And Jeff and Lauren, we'll talk about what that co-share is here momentarily. But you get to select what it is, and then you scroll further down, and you can apply immediately, or if you have more questions, you can fill out your information there, and one of the good folks over at Impact will answer all your questions. And here's the great thing, folks: those folks are not salespeople. They're not looking to do something for you that doesn't make sense because they've got some quota. You're not calling some call center in some faraway place that has got someone telling them, you got to get more members, get more members. These are people that are member services folks that are there to serve you, to answer your questions. And if it's a good fit, makes financial sense and healthcare sense, then you can join. And by the way, the application process, 15, 20 minutes. If you can buy something on Amazon, you can sign up to join a member of Impact. And there it is. It's very easy. It is 7 different steps before you get to activating. When you join, if you were to join today, it would be active for the first of the following month, right? So if you want to make sure that you're a member, taking action for April 1st, no April Fools there, legitimately starting on April 1st, you have up until the last day at 5 p.m. of the previous month here in March. But don't delay. If this is something of interest, go get that quote, what it means for your family, get your questions answered by the folks at Impact, and sign up so that you can rest assured that come the first of the next month, you've got a membership into the community and you have access to quality healthcare at an affordable price. The card. When you join, we're going to go into the back office, but I just want to take a moment while Jeff is pulling up the something on the screen. You get a card, and I tell people a funny little saying, just keep this in mind. The front is for you, the back is for them. What do I mean by that? Well, if you see on the front there on your screen, you've got the information of what your provider fees are and your member services number and all the people in your household. So the front is for you so that you know what you're dealing with and where you go and what you have to pay for your visits. The back is for them. When you go to the doctor, they want to see the information on the back of the card. And in that red square is everything that you need to know. That is where if they have more questions, there's a provider services, a website, and phone number. But the magic number is that EDI payer ID. I used to have Blue Cross Blue Shield back in the day, and I'd go to see a prospective doctor and they say, we don't take that here. I'd say, oh, okay, well, I guess I can't come here, and I'd leave. Well, after working in healthcare a little bit, I learned it's not that they don't take that. It's that might not be a network with pre-approved pricing and contracting. But if the organization, whether it's an insurance company or a non-insurance nonprofit like Impact, has an EDI payer ID number, it doesn't matter whether it's network or not. When they say, and if they say, well, we don't take that here, that's okay. Here's a web address and a phone number for you to call, and here's the EDI payer number that you need to install. And that immediately tells them in their system what they should be charging you, that they should send that bill electronically to Impact, where they're going to negotiate it on your behalf, where you just pay your office visit fee, and we go along the merry way. Also on the back of the card are any conditions that need pre-eligibility, meaning you should be contacting Impact before seeing a specialist or a doctor if it's any of those particular conditions. Not to say that you're not going to be approved, so to speak, but giving them a heads up allows to pave the way for a better experience, both when you go to the doctor or specialist and or when you have to pay the bill. So we want to make sure that we're good with our community so our community can be good for us. Well, what's the magic? Well, the magic lies in the member back office. And Jeff, if you don't mind pulling up what everyone sees, this is what we talk about in transparency. Whether you like them or not, President Trump in his first term passed something called Hospital Price Transparency Act. It was basically forcing hospitals to tell you what they were charging for different things. And what we come to find out, the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal both did huge exposés in 2020 and 2021 that the same hospital for the same insurance carrier was charging crazy different amounts. So I believe one of the examples, if I remember correctly, I believe it was an Aetna bill at the same hospital, two different types of Aetna plans, right? One was $38,000. The other one was like $15,000 for the same procedure and the same visit. Now, transparency allows us to make better and wiser choices with our health, but it also gives power to negotiating on our behalf. And where other organizations require you to be a medical expert, a medical billing expert, and a negotiating expert, Impact does it for you. And they show you where every dollar goes when it comes to your medical expenses. And so I'll just draw your attention to the member center. This is the household. And look how neat this is. I'm always fascinated with this, guys. I check in on mine, even if I don't have a bill going through, just because I like to see what's going on. It shows, in this instance, it shows, Jeff, what the medical balance is, where every dollar has gone. It's gone to share portion. It's gone to admin fees. It's a sharing activities over the last 12 months. Over on the right-hand side, this is the community aspect. You see where it says they're recently helped? That is the dollars that came out of the sharing account that helped all of those different households and the amount it helped them with. And in that share stream that we saw just earlier, sometimes people post, hey, will you pray for me? Because we're going in and this could be a cancer diagnosis. Or, my kid just had an accident and, we don't want this to be a broken bone. It may just be a fracture. And not only do you get to see who helped you and who you've helped, you get to actually send a message of encouragement, a prayer if that's your faith inclination, and it really is a community. This is not some nondescript, large building cubicle farm where they say yes and no to your bills. These are people helping people, and that's what's really the important dynamic of it. And you can see where the dollar goes. Now, Jeff, do me a favor. Now, this is something, guys. You click on that community tab. Have you ever wondered what Blue Cross and United do with your money? I know I have. I know I didn't sign up to pay for the third vacation home in Vail, Colorado for the CEO of United Healthcare, right? Like, I don't care that his kids get to wear custom-made Versace and Prada and go to all the greatest schools. Like, I'm trying to do right by my family. But those dollars, I don't know where they go. I don't know whose pockets they're lining. Well, here at Impact, as a member, you get to see everything that's going on in real time. Let me just draw your attention up to the sharing balances member accounts. That speaks to the financial stability of the community. That's how much money is available in our individual sharing accounts to meet the needs of other members of the community. Then you can see all the things that have been collected. You can see that's called distributed reserves, what dollars are in there and what activity has been going on. You can see how many households are part of the community, even by state. You can see the largest needs from the previous month, whether you had a role in meeting those needs or not. But here's the magic. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you see bills pending. That's how many bills are currently pending and being processed. And then here's what's really super cool. Hey, Jeff, could you close out the little chat widget there so we can see the bills processed day? Click on that X. All right, bills process. You see days to process and days to sharing. Friends, I make a joke. I've told this to Lauren and Jeff and Melissa before. I always want to be the second Impact member that goes to a doctor's office or a hospital. Here's why. The first one might need to deal with a little education, right? But the first one is going to treat those offices. They're going to get paid in 18 days. Now, traditional insurance, 90 to 120 days, and you've got to have a billing specialist working in that office sitting on top of that company just to get paid. And they're going to say no, and they're going to say it's not the right code, and they're going to fight you. Impact negotiates it on market rates and then issues payment immediately. 18 days. Why do I say I want to be the second? Because after the first person goes through that's an Impact member, and this doctor's office gets paid in 18 days, and they didn't have to jump through hoops, and it was an easy transaction because they got to electronically send all the information. They didn't have a special form. They didn't have to hire a part-time person just to deal with Impact billing. They're going to go up to the gal or guy at the front desk and say, when you see this logo, when you see this card, you roll the red carpet out for those people, because we get paid quick without hassle, and they are a dream community to deal with. That's the information that you get access to. Is Impact working on your behalf? You don't got to wonder. They're not buying a third vacation house in Vail. They're putting those dollars as a nonprofit right back to use to delivering value to you as a member. And so the last thing I'll share with you before going to questions that makes Impact amazing, we've already talked about it a couple different ways, is this health and wellness credit. This is absolutely dynamic. The reason we choose in our family to go to a direct primary care physician. Yeah, you know what, Jeff? You were just showing, you access, by the way, side note, we access our virtual care this way. You can see the barometer there on how much we have to go towards fulfilling our PRA. You can access telehealth. You can get your discounts. You can find doctors on here and providers. Got your dental and vision discount. Everything is available right here in this member center. It's super easy. If you can shop on Amazon, you can take care of manage your healthcare on Impact. That's how technologically advanced and transparent they are. But let me just harp on this health and wellness credit, because I'm amazed. You know, I made the decision I told you earlier because just all the money that we would save for our family. But our DPC, our direct primary care physician, our family believes in functional and naturopathic opportunities to take care and manage our health. I was diagnosed with a Hashimoto's, and I was told I'd be on thyroid medication the rest of my life. This was 4 years ago now. And because I went to a functional medicine doc through some diet and lifestyle changes, 9 months later, we did blood work, and I didn't show any signs of anything having to do with thyroid issues or Hashimoto's. And I didn't have to be stricken on a prescription drug for the rest of my life. And that was only, thank you, Melissa, that was only because I could avail myself of those things. What Impact is saying is, not only do we believe in that, do we believe in you being empowered in that, but we want to make sure we go above and beyond and provide you with a credit off of your deductible, because you're taking the choices and the steps to be healthier. And if we're healthier as a population, there's less strain on the community, right? Because this is not about some shareholder group trying to extract profit. This is not about, trying to increase a bottom line. The bottom line is our community and every individual member's share that they pay on a monthly basis. Impact has not raised their share price in 5 years. They're 5 years old. They've never increased their share prices. Why? Because they empower us to take the steps to know more about our health and to take actions. So whether it's IV drip, whether it's direct primary care, whether it's functional medicine, whether it's UV light treatment, going to a gym, availing yourself of health and wellness things like vitamins or nutraceuticals, you're spending those dollars anyway. Wouldn't you rather lower your deductible and be part of a community that encourages you? Of course you would. And so that alone, nobody else, no Blue Cross, no United, no other healthcare sharing organization is doing that. And that's what made us so excited about coming to Impact as a member for our family's healthcare needs. And the person that asked you to come to learn a little bit more, they've made that same choice, and they're a part of the community. And what they're saying when they invite you to a call like this to learn more is they're saying, we believe that you should take power and control of your own healthcare and join us in this movement. I love it Jeff, Melissa, and Lauren, you call it crusade. It truly is a crusade. And it's just a sweet thing to log in and look at the share stream and be able to see people cancer free, the diagnosis didn't go well, and even the people where they do get that dark, dreary diagnosis, to be there as a community, to support them, and to let them know that they're not alone. At United Healthcare and Aetna and Humana and all the others and Blue Cross, you are the number on the card, the number on the bill. And they're programmed to say no and to care about their shareholders more than the patients and the members that come to them for assistance. At Impact, you're not a number, you're a member, a vital part of what makes this community work for everybody else. If that's the kind of thing that you're looking for, then I'd invite you to go do that pricing calculator immediately. Just find out what it would save you. If you got questions about your individual, situation, I don't know that I would feel comfortable sharing my health information on a call like this, but you can do it one-on-one with someone at Impact that's not trying to sell you, that's just trying to tell you what it is. Whoever invited you can share the guidelines and share some experiences. But this is a great opportunity. There's no better time than now than to start taking control of your healthcare journey. So thank you, Jeff and Melissa and Lauren, for letting me share a little bit about my membership journey and how I came to Impact to help my family. And I guess I don't know if you got some more examples we want to show or so take some questions, but I'll be quiet now and yield the floor over.
Well, Evelio, thank you so much for being on the call, sharing your perspective, sharing your years of experience in this industry. And, Evelio talked about that health and wholeness credit. So just look, this is my personal member center. So my wife and I, we've had no medical bills this year. We've just taken advantage of those health and wholeness credits, and we've had a few chiropractic adjustments as well. And you can see that we've already used $953.20 of our primary responsibility amount. So our primary responsibility amount is now down to $1,500 for the year for the two of us combined, even though we've had no medical bills at all. And so I love that about that health and wholeness credit that Evelio talked about. Evelio also showed the pricing calculator earlier on. Here's another example. Let's say somebody's March 30th, 1989. We click on Get Quote, and it's going to go out and it's going to generate a quote, for that particular, family. And what's exciting is when the quote is generated, there's just 4 different options for that family. And now those 4 options, all that's different between the options is the primary responsibility amount that family chooses. So for example, that family could take a $2,500, a $5,000, or a $2,500 primary responsibility amount. Now, let's say it's just one single individual. You can see somebody 35 years old, $102 a month to $246, depending on which primary responsibility amount they choose. But let's say it's for a family of 3+. You can see how now it's $404 to $576 for that family, 35 years old, for the whole family combined, anywhere from $404 a month to $576. And now that primary responsibility amount is combined between the whole family. And once you meet your primary responsibility amount, instead of having co-insurance, which is usually a 70-30 or an 80-20 split in the insurance world, with Impact, it's a 90-10 split. So here's what that means. Once your family has met that primary responsibility amount, the Impact community will now share into 90% of your eligible medical bill. Your responsibility is just 10%. And the most that a family could ever pay per year in that 10% co-share is $5,000 a year per family. Think of that like a max out-of-pocket expense. So that max out-of-pocket expense is your primary responsibility amount, plus your $5,000 maximum on your co-share. But again, once you have your quote, if you still have questions, like Evelio mentioned, you can just submit yourself in as a lead, and somebody from Impact will reach out to you with a text message and an email to schedule a time to talk to you, and you can have a HIPAA compliant phone call with somebody from Impact to help you get any of those questions answered. And speaking of questions, I just want to show you a really amazing resource for every one of us on Impact's website, impacthealthsharing.com. Over here where it says members, you can click on where it says summary of sharing, and the answer of almost every question you can ask is going to be right here on the Impact Health Sharing website underneath members and summary of sharing. When you go there, you can just click on anything. You can click on if you want to know more about mental health, if you want to know about prescriptions, if you want to know about virtual mental health, if you want to know about acupuncture, if you want to know about inpatient hospital expenses, if you want to know about mammograms, if you want to know about, people that are recovering from substance abuse. So the answer of every one of these questions is right here on impacthealthsharing.com underneath members and underneath share summary. All of it is there. Also, I want to mention, for those of you wondering, is there a business opportunity here? You've heard the word referral partner a couple of times. So for those of you like, hey, I could be passionate about this and I want to know, is there a benefit to me to referring this to other people? The answer is yes. So if you want to learn more about the business opportunity with Impact Health Sharing's marketing partner and how you can earn residual income by referring Impact to other individuals, families, and small businesses, let the person that invited you on the call know, I want to learn more about being a referral partner, and they'll get you the information where you can learn more about the business opportunity side. And Lauren mentioned how we have a major convention coming up. That's actually going to be literally next weekend in Dallas, Texas. That's our national convention. We'll have thousands of people coming in from all over North America. We'll have the executive team from Impact there and some of the top referral partners from all over the world. And that's in Dallas, Texas next weekend, March 15th and 16th. It'll be phenomenal.